We pump those profits back into the profit cycle to generate even more profits. And I know what you're going to say. Profits? Yes, Stan. You're soaking in them.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is your boy ExtrmWill, Extreme Tech, with another Salad AI video. We're going to take a look at how much my 29 machines are earning. Machine 30 is on its way. This is going to be take 2 of this. I ran into something that just kind of, it took me a minute to wrap my head around what I was looking at. So, this will be a better video than the one I just made a second ago. I tried making a second ago. So, if we look at my earnings for the last 24 hours, it says $22.92, pretty much garbage. When, looks like last night, somewhere around 7, 8 o'clock, the vast majority of my machines turned off. I probably had like 20 to 25 machines turned off, something like that. When I got home, they were all off. Well, they weren't all off. They had all restarted. So I don't know if that was something from Salad or if that was a power hiccup on my end. It did look like everything that was in a job, or well, everything that kept running was active in the job. It probably cut off some. I couldn't go back and look at the what would that be? The PowerShell stuff from the day before, because it resets at midnight from what it tells you in the report. So I don't know how to look back at yesterday's. So I was just able to look at everything from then, but it had reset. I had to turn Salad back on for everything. When I turned everything back on, it looked like it was back to just running mediocrely again. I mean, it probably cost me, $5 maybe, but not necessarily end of the world kind of thing. Salad's not really making that much, so it's not a huge deal. I don't even know what my average for this would be. My average for this is probably still, I guess if it didn't happen, I'd have made more. I'd have hopefully made like over 30, but whatever. If we look at the last 7 days, yesterday wound up being $24.95, which is garbage. Day before that was $32.12, which I guess is better. Day before that was $33. Day before that was $27.82. Day before that was $26.37. Day before that was $29.37. So like one of the comments I'm getting is this profitable? So my electric cost, with everything running right now real low, I'm probably, barely spending $300 for electric, because it's going to be on the lower end because nothing is running. So I'm still looking at profiting like $675 after electric. My base electric use, for like a $35 day, for a $30 to $35 day, is still only like $10 a day for electric. If it's a $45 day, then I might be actually making like quite a bit more. Or if we go back to like the last 30 days, you can see I have two $45 days in here. Like for those 2 days, my electric bill might have been a little bit higher, but my overall return would have been so much higher than the electric bill would have been. So, but my average usage is like $10. So I mean, even on these $45 days, if my electric usage, went up by 50% and I was doing a $15 electric for these 2 days, I would have still been profiting like $30 for those 2 days. So it's not too bad. So I mean, my earnings on those days was still going to be $30 to $35 a piece. So yesterday, still, even with the being $22 day, I should have still profited like $12. Yeah, there's other fees and stuff, but no matter what you do, there's going to be fees and stuff. So I don't really feel like calculating all that out. I think that's irrelevant. But yeah, it's definitely still super profitable. So I definitely like the idea of doing this over a lot of other things because of the amount of profit. Makes sense to me. I am going to look into Warthog more. I was going to try to get a machine on Warthog last night, but that did not happen because by the time I finally turned everything back on after work, I was like, I'm too tired. So after this video, I'm probably going to go and start trying to record stuff and seeing if I can get a machine on Warthog and all that. I'm probably just going to run it through Hive OS on one machine with the flash drive. So I will get to that after this. And then, so you can be on the lookout. That video might come and it might not. Depends what I get for footage, if any of it seems like it's anything at all, or if it's all just garbage. But overall, salads, it looks like for the most part there's no work. I don't really have a real definite answer on what this was, which is kind of annoying, because that's obnoxious. So anyways, we get into it. I have 29 machines right now. Machine 30 is coming. Machine 30 will probably come up here. It should be 2001. It's going to be another 20 core, and I'm probably going to put all 3 of my 4090s on the 20 cores, which was originally my plan. I've just been kind of lazy about it. So I'll probably do that. And yeah, so I have 2 20 cores, 1 16 core AMD Threadripper, and then I have, I believe, 13 of these bc/pc.com combo kits. Yeah, 13 of them. And then I have a 12 core AMD PC, 4 8 core PCs, 5 6 core PCs, and 3 4 core PCs. So if we get into this first PC here, this is a 20 core. It's on the X99 board, so it's still basically, it's like a modified version of the BC/PC combo kits, because I went with the 20 cores, which doesn't seem to make any difference other than you have to get a much larger cooler on it. That's far more expensive. The 20 core chip is more expensive, and the cooler on it is more expensive. I don't know if, for the purpose of salad, if this 20 core actually makes a difference at all. I have not seen anything at all that leads me to believe this 4090 makes any more than any of my other 4090s. But I think for other applications, it might. Like if I go to Warthog, I think the 20 core should make more than the 12 core does. I don't know for sure, but I would imagine it should. So, or if if you go into other AI stuff, like they may pay you more for the CPU than they do specifically for salad. It's 96 gigabytes of memory and an RTX 4090. And this is where I had to stop the video because the earnings on this are just kind of like all over the place. So this says at 2 o'clock for a couple of seconds, it made $5.47, which does not even show on my earnings because they paid me so less for it, and the $2.21 at $5.47. I don't believe it even blips on there as anything. Yeah, they did not even pay me a penny for that. Wait, that's right here? No. What time was that at? I just looked at all this. Maybe they do pay me a little bit for this. Starting at 2 a.m.? Yeah, okay. They do pay me a little bit for that 2 a.m. 3 a.m. says they paid me $1.51, which it looks like from the 3 a.m. hour, it should have been running a $4 job the entire time. Is that? Which would be $3.60. So, yeah, maybe it's not off by that much. Maybe if it... No, because it should have run the entire hour. So it looks like that hour they did short me about 30 cents. And then the next hour, it looks like it had a hard time running, and it didn't necessarily run for the entire hour. It looks like it was kind of running real spotty. And then it looks like it continues to run real spotty from about 4 to almost 11:30. So you can see here, yeah, it's running kind of spotty. So I have an hour they didn't pay me anything at all. And then that hour shouldn't be anything. And then this thing just looks like it gets all over the place. This looks really weird too. I was trying to figure out how much exactly they're paying me for this, and then I went back and looked the whole day because like this just looks weird. Because this looks like I should have been running pretty solidly, making decent money all day, and it's basically made almost nothing so far today. And then it has about 2 hours where the price seems like it's jumping back and forth between $3.97 and $6.27, but it looks like for the most part the $3.97 looks like it's only running for like a fraction of a second before it goes to the $6.27. I mean, it's running just for the smallest micros of microseconds, because it's not even in the seconds. It's in like the 0.004 of a second, which I don't even know what that would be. I mean, we're tens of thousandths of a second. It's supposed to be doing $3.97, but that's only at 0.26. No, that's not 0.26. At 0.26 times 24. I guess that's $6.24. Okay. So it is paying me that's $6.27 for this job. I don't know why it's doing this where it's trying to report the $3.97 for the fraction of a second. It is paying me the $6.27 though. So it's just weird. It's the only one I have that's really doing this, where it's constantly reporting the two different numbers like this back to back. I stopped for a minute so I could go back and look at the whole day for this thing, because this is just weird looking. I had to figure out what the machine ID was on it, but it is paying me the second number on here since about 11:30 probably. So definitely kind of weird to look at. You got to take all this with a grain of salt too. This particular line of code, it's not necessarily, they turn this off in the widget because it's not working correctly. So we can see spots here. It may not necessarily be working correctly. I don't know why it's trying to report two different numbers. But it's not necessarily working correctly. But to cover this again too, what this is, I just started with it. If you open up PowerShell, look in the bottom, right click. I'm going to run as administrator because I think that always makes PowerShell run better. Some programs you have to run as administrator. This one you don't. You can run it normally, but I'll just run it as administrator. To get back to the last codes that you've typed, if you just press the up arrow, it'll show you every code you've done. So you can scroll up and down through every code you've ever typed in. I will leave this code in the description down below. But keep in mind, this is backdooring into a program that's already broken. So you're just taking a look at the reports and then hit enter. And it'll come up. And this looks like it's still running right now, so that's good. But yeah, it's definitely reporting really weird. So I had to take a nice long hard look at that to figure that out. You can close that out then. But yeah, it's just definitely reporting weird. So if we go to the next machine, it's a 20-core PC with 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 4070 Ti. This one looks like, let's see, it's at 3 a.m. it ran a 10-cent job for a little bit. Then it looks like at 5:40 it ran a job for $1.30 for a very brief second. So it may not have even paid me for that. If it did, I made probably a couple of pennies. And then it looks like from about 8 a.m. to about 10 a.m. it was doing a $2.62 job, which would have been a medium tier priority job for this card. And then it looks like it stopped. And when it stops, it does these system checks then. So like these system checks they don't necessarily make it stop, but when it stops, it does tend to do them. So it's, I don't know, which one came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't think these system checks are necessarily anything bad, but it does seem to run a bunch of them when a job seems to end, which leads me to believe with the number of errors I was seeing before on the machines that necessarily get the errors, I seem to always have one of these system checks when it gets the error. So I don't know if the job aired out and it gets it or whatever. Who knows? Sounds weird and none of this is working correctly, so who knows? It's kind of working. I have to imagine the reason we don't have that many jobs right now too is because if this looks like it's all buggy and it's not working on our end, it's probably worse on the customer's end. So we will see. And then this looks like it was, when I checked, it was running a 10-cent job. I'm definitely seeing a huge influx in the 10-cent jobs, which I'm not really super happy about. I'd like to be making some money. So if we go to the next one, AMD Threadripper, 16 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090. This is the one that was in here. This looks like it had just started a job for $2 and 62 cents. Looks like it's still doing that. This should be the medium tier priority job. So it looks like it's still running that one, so that is good. Let's go to the next one. We are into the 12-core BC/PC combo kit boards now. So this is 12 cores. I put more memory in this one, actually. So a bunch of these have 96 gigabytes of memory. That seems to be the sweet spot for your more expensive cards, just in case the memory does bloat up or the customer wants to pay for more. I don't necessarily see a reason to get up to 128. I would kind of like to be at 128 on my 4090s, just in case the customer does want to pay for more memory on them. But for cards less than the 4090, I don't think there's a real reason for it. I think being above 60, though, I have seen this get up to like 70. So I think on like your more expensive cards, if you spent more than like $1,000 on the card, I think you probably should have the 96 gigabytes of memory in there, just to be on the safe side. If you spent less than $1,000, then I'm probably, like for all my 3090s, I'm fine with just having the 64 gigabytes in there. So, alright, so anyways, this is a 12 cores, 96 gigabytes, RTX 4090. This one looks like it pretty recently picked up a job for $4 or $3.97. This should be doing $3.97. That should be the... Not sure if that's the low end for the high priority. I think it is. So they're probably only paying for like 1 or 2 cores and 40 gigabytes of memory. So if we get to the next one, this is 12 cores, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 4090. This one looks like it is currently not running, but it has run a job for a little bit. So it's made a little bit of money today, but definitely not very much. The 4090 is not just running constantly is very heartbreaking. Because ultimately, like, it's not holding this down and anchoring in and letting me really make a lot of money. This is why I'm at $25 and not $45. So if we go to the next one, this is a 12 core, 96 gigabytes, RTX 4070. Let's see, is this one actually, is it currently running or did it end? 1208. 1208. So this one did end the job. Kind of crazy to see this one on a job at all. It 4070s very rarely get any work. It was doing a job for $1.30 earlier today, and it looks like it ran it for a while. It stopped, and then it picked another one up again. That's the low tier priority job. And then for a while, it ran this $3 And 30-cent job, that should be the medium tier priority for this card. This is the machine I'm most likely going to try to put on Warthog just because it never runs. It did run today, but I think I'm going to try to put this one on Warthog and see what it does. And if I don't like it, I'll just turn it right back to salad. So let's see, this next one here, this is 12 cores, 96 gigabytes, RTX 4060 Ti, should be the 16 gigabyte variant. All my 4060 Ti's are the 16 gigabyte, my 3080s are the 10 gigabyte, and my 3060s are all the 12 gigabyte variants. So yeah, this one's currently just calculating, it's not doing anything. Boo. Go to the next machine. This is 12 cores, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3090. This one looks like it should currently be doing a $2.62 job and should have been running that for about 2 hours. If we go to the next one, this one looks like it's not currently running anything. Ooh, no, those are just checks. So $12 or 12 cores, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3090. This one's currently doing nothing. This next one, 12 cores, 96 gigabytes, RTX 4070 Ti. This one looks like it's currently not doing anything. It did for the vast majority of the day so far. Maybe not even the vast majority. Yeah, maybe the vast majority of the day. A large portion of the day. It was doing $2.62, which should be a medium tier priority job. And then it looks like it had all kinds of whatever going on in there. And got back into one. This is doing this too, where it's alternating. I'm getting paid the exact same amount, but it's alternating on what code it's telling me for each one. So, I don't know, that's definitely weird. Is it alternating the code every fraction of a second too? Yeah, it's alternating the code every fraction of a second, but it's the exact same dollar amount. So, that is weird. 12 cores, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090. This one looks like it should currently be doing a $2.62 job that it looks like it's been running pretty constantly. Looks like it picked it up at about 2:30. So I picked this up after I got home from work and I turned it back on. So it's been running this job most of the day, so that's pretty good. Let's get this next one. 12 cores, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3080. This one was running a job for a little bit, a $2.46 job, which would be pretty good for this machine. That should be the medium tier priority for a 3080. I don't know who's paying for the medium tier for a 3080, but I definitely appreciate it. And then it looks like for a very small fraction of a percent, it ran the $1.30, which should be the low priority job, and then some 10-cent job for a short period of time. And right now it is currently calculating. So the next one, 12 cores, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090. This one looks like it's been all over the place. This one would not have shut off when the power went out or whenever everything flickered. It ran a $2.62 job for a while, and then it looks like it went bouncing back and forth between doing nothing and trying to run a job and doing nothing and trying to run a job and nothing and trying to run a job and 10-cent job and then trying to run a container and 10-cent job and trying to run a container and 20-cent job and trying to run a container, and it looks like it's just bouncing all over the place, and I have no clue what this thing is really doing. And it looked like it stopped altogether trying to do anything at 10:45 a.m. So this could just be that this whole thing is broken, or who knows. Salad's not necessarily working correctly, so hopefully they can iron some of this stuff out so we can get back into running larger containers. I definitely don't think this is my machine trying to run a container for a fraction of a second and then stopping. And then trying to run a container again for a minute and then stopping. And then trying to run a container again for 1 minute and stopping. And trying to run a container for 0.3 seconds and then getting an earning and then having a system check and then stopping. It looks like it's... I'd imagine this is problems on the customer end and on Salad's end of trying to get containers to run correctly. So the container will spin up, it'll start running, and then it looks like it crashes, and then they have to do the system check. And it tries to spin up the other container, and it crashes, and that's kind of what it looks like to me. I could be wrong, but I think that's kind of what it looks like. They're having a hard time. Like the customers, if they don't, you kind of test the program to see if it works by trying to run the program. Same thing like you check your computer when you're putting it together. You check to see if it'll post by trying to post. And if it posts, your computer works. And if your computer doesn't post, it doesn't work. So it's kind of the same thing with the program. You try to run the program, and if the program works, it works. And then if you find an error somewhere, then you go back and try to fix it. But, yeah. So I think that's kind of part of the reason you're seeing a lot of the starting and stopping stuff is program's just not working. So if we go to the next one, 12 core, 64 gigabytes, RTX 4060 Ti. So it looks like it ran a 10-cent job for a little bit, but it's bouncing. There's some big time gaps in there. I don't think it looks like it ran the 10-cent job for... about 40 minutes, and then it ran a different 10-cent job hours later for about 20 minutes. And then at about 6 a.m. it picked up this $2.62 job, which it looks like it ran until about noon. And then it tried picking up another container for like 2 seconds that canceled out of. So this $2.62 should be the medium tier priority, and this $3.47. I'm not sure right offhand if that's going to be a medium tier priority with more cores and RAM, or if that is a high priority job with just not enough CPU usage or RAM. Let's go to the next one. 12 cores, 64 gigabytes, RTX 4060 Ti. This one looks like it is running a $2.62 job that's been running since about 6:30. That's been running pretty solid straight, so that's a pretty good container. Let's go to the next one. This is the last of my 12 core machines. So this is a 12 core, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3060, and this one's doing $1.30, so this should be the low priority job. And I believe this has been running, this one I have on the power meter, so this one's been running straight for like 2 or 3 days here. So this is some pretty nice little job here. And let's go to the last one here. Well, the last one in this set. This is the AMD Ryzen 9 12-core PC. This is the one that's upstairs. 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070 Ti. This one, I get tons and tons of errors on this one, so I don't know if it's this machine specifically or if it's just the people trying to use the 3070 Ti. 'Cause I don't know who wants to pay that specific premium for the 3070 Ti, and like this one seems like a good idea. I mean, it could be good, I guess, because you might not have as much weight as a customer. If I pick a random card, you know, there might be more of those on the network, and it may be better than like waiting for like a 3090 or a 4090 kind of thing, or a 3060 12 gigabyte card. If you just go like, I'm just going to take a random card and then see if it gets done quicker, because you don't have to wait as much time in the queue. So Looks like it randomly did some 10-cent jobs, not for very long. It does look like it did run a job for $2.02 for 12 minutes. That could be, I'd imagine that crashed because it has the 2 inspections for right afterwards. So I imagine because of the 2 inspections afterwards, it crashed instead of it just ran for 10 minutes. If it didn't have these 2, I would have just imagined it was a 10-minute job. But because it looks like as soon as it ended, it was running these inspections, leads me to believe that it crashed. And then it looks like it did a 10-cent job for a little bit. But because it simply could pick up that $2 job, that makes me pretty happy to think that my machine's not necessarily broken. It's just something weird with salad. Alright, so let's close all these out. A lot of weird stuff in there. A lot of weird stuff. So let's look at the 8-core PCs with the Chrome Remote Desktop. I can only have 20 open at a time. So we will do these, and then I'll finish everything else off. So i7, 8 cores, 32 gigabytes, RTX 3060 Ti. This one looks like it is currently on a $1.30 job to be a low tier priority. Definitely seeing way too much of this 10-cent job stuff in here. Not a big fan of all that. Alright, let's go to the next one. i7, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3060. This one looks like it's currently not active in a job. Oh, why aren't you working? So it looks like it ran... So it looks like it ran a 10-cent job for almost 6 hours. Ugh. And then it ran $1.92, which should be the medium tier priority. For like an hour and a half. And then it ran a $1.30 job for about 40 minutes. And then now it's idle. Let's go to the next one here. i7, 8 cores, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3070. So this one tried picking up a job, that didn't work, and then it went to a 20-cent job that it ran for about 2 minutes, and then it had a whole bunch of system checks, and then it started running a 10-cent job for a while. And then it picked up a job for $1.30 that looks like it is still doing now. The $1.30 job should be the low priority job for the 3070. So let's go to the last of the 8 cores. This is our Ryzen 7 8 core, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3070. This one just some random 10-cent garbage. So that'll close out the 8 cores. So then let's open all of the 6 cores and the 3 4-core machines. So this next one here, this is an i5, 6 cores, 32 gigabytes, RTX 3060 Ti. Let's see here. This one looks like it was doing this one would have still been on all day, I think. So I don't think this one reset when whatever happened earlier. So this has been doing $1.30 until about 8:42, and then it looks like 10 minutes later it went up to $1.56, and it ran that for about another half an hour, and then now it is idle. If you go to the next one, this is an i5 6 core 64 gigabytes RTX 3060. This one should currently be doing $1.32, which should be the low tier priority job that it pretty much just picked up. It picked up at 12:30, and it's now almost 2 in the afternoon. So this next one, Ryzen 5, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3070 Ti. This one looks like it was doing a $2 job for quite a while. And then it looks like at about 2:30 that stopped. That should be the medium tier priority job for this card. Or it could be the low priority where they just paid for more cores and more memory. And then you got some 10 cents and some system checks. If we go to the next one, it's i5, 6 cores, 32 gigabytes, RTX 3070. So it looks like it just ran some 10-cent checks for today. Go to the next one, Ryzen 5, 3600, 6 cores, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070 Ti. This one looks like for the most part it ran 10-cent jobs, and it tried running a job for 4 seconds. And then that one didn't work. So one nice thing with this though is I only need to check this WSL file to see if this is broken if there's no work in here for today. So since most of these have still done a 10-cent job, I haven't really had to check the WSL files at all. So that's nice. Let's see. So this one right here, this is my 10-year-old i7, 4 cores, 16 gigabytes of DDR3 with the RTX 3060. And this one looks like it's basically done nothing. It says an 18-cent job for a minute. So not very much going on there. So if we go to the next one, i3, 4 cores, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3070. This one just some 10-cent stuff. It looks like it did try to run a job for $1.30 for 10 seconds, and then that stopped. So, boo. And then let's go to the last one here. i3, 4 cores, 32 gigabytes, RTX 3080. This was my most reliable machine forever, but it looks like it did just try to do just like 10 cents. It is not coming through good on my screen. This probably looks terrible on your guys' screen. I can't even read this on mine with the Chrome Remote Desktop. In the link below, I will put the command line for Windows PowerShell if you guys want to take a look at yours to play along at home. Close all these out. Going in through Chrome Remote Desktop can technically crash your system out, but I don't really have a better way of checking everything, so... Ouch. It says I should be at only making about 20 cents right now every... Oh man, every 15 minutes. So yeah, that sounds like nothing should be active right now at all, almost. So that's why I'm interested in trying to take a little bit of a look at Warthog. We'll see what I get for video footage from that, if any of it's useful or any of the information I gather is useful. So that's going to be it for this video, though. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe, come on back. If you got any questions, comments, and concerns, you leave them down below. I'm pretty good about getting back to all the comments. Even with sales looking kind of terrible, it's still like my profit margins are still pretty big. So like I'm not really interested in spending, $1,000 a month on electric to not really make anything. So I'm not going into Warthog with a lot of real high expectations. I don't feel like, when I was trying to do my research, I don't feel like I've seen a lot of real information on it. Yeah, so we'll see. I'll try to see what profitability looks like. The profitability from what I had looked before looked like it was probably pretty good because the coin looked like it was appreciating in value. But I think your yield is going down every day as the price is appreciating because more people are hopping onto it. So I'll try to get some content out for it. If I don't get any content out for it, it's because in my looking into it more and trying to get it run more, I think the whole thing is just stupid. So we'll see. Yeah, so that's my teaser. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, coming back. I'll see you next time. Peace.